Our client from Cornwalls just purchased this property in South Wales for £70,000. Let's show you around. So our client from Cornwall has purchased this property in South Wales for £70,000. It's going to have a full renovation of the project. It's a BRR project, so buy, renovate and refinance. And we'll show you how that works in terms of an investment strategy and why it benefits them even though they're investing from like 4 hours away. So the obvious elephant in the room is, why am I in such a rundown property? Why does it look so dated and horrible? And ironically, from a property investor's point of view, this is a very, very good property because we love rundown properties. We love properties that have problems that we can fix. We love properties that basically no tenant wants to come in here and live in its current condition, but we can renovate it, make it beautiful and lovely so that we can actually increase the value and make it a nice, modernized place for someone to come in and make their home afterwards. That's the black and white of it. And you can see how dated and horrible the carpets are, the wallpaper on the walls, etc. You've got an old dated fireplace. It's very dated and horrible, which is amazing for us. What I'm going to do on this video is basically outline why this project works really well, the figures from the investment point of view, and the refurb project and how we're approaching that. So as I mentioned, this is a BRR project, so buy, renovate and refinance. And the reason for this is because the property is in dated, horrible condition and nobody's going to actually want to live here in this kind of condition, we're able to secure the property at a discount on the agreed price. So it's currently worth, I'd estimate, to be roughly, I believe, about £90,000 as an estimation. We've secured it for £70,000, and so we've got about 20k of immediate equity there. And now what we plan to do is the full renovation of the property we expect to be 38 grand. That includes builder's quote, that includes contingency of 10% and project management fees. Because the clients from Cornwall, we're pretty much going to be doing the full works. In fact, we are going to be doing the full works for them because they don't want to be traveling 4 hours up for this every week to be managing the project. They want to be cracking on with their lives. The whole point of us existing as a service is so that people can invest from wherever they are in the world so that we can help them build a portfolio or just invest in property in general. So that's really cool. So that's how the BR is working. So we secured it for £70,000. The renovation is £38,000 all in, including all estimations of costs, contingency to give security there, plus project management fees. So that's a full bracket. We expect the value of the property to be, once renovated, to be £140,000. And I think the rental income gross every month from a tenant point of view is at least £800 a month. So if not £850, like South Wales has such a high demand for rentals and the area is really good. So I wouldn't be surprised for that to be the case. So yeah, that's where we stand with it in numbers. The return investment of this is, I think, about 22% return investment in the first year. So in 1 year, if you're investing in a rental property from a BR, where you can put your money in, get a refinance on the back end to pull most of your money back out, and get over 20% return investment, this is why these projects work so well. And obviously I'm going to lead you into this exact project and the particulars, but from a general property strategy, the BR, buy, renovate and refinance, works so well because you're buying a rundown property, you're renovating it to increase, basically modernize. You're increasing the value of the property by modernization, by updating, adding bedrooms, increasing the spec of the property. And then basically at the new increased value of, let's say this one, £140,000 for example, you're getting a buy-to-let mortgage at 75% loan to value on the back end. And then the bank will lend you 75% of the money. So what you pull back out will basically be the difference. And the beauty is, once it's actually renovated, when you actually rent it out, I think the net monthly income off just this one property will be roughly £250. So if you imagine if you bought a portfolio of 10 properties in South Wales by using this method, and then you left 10 grand in per project, but then within, let's say, 8 to 10 properties, you're making 2.5 grand net a month just passively in the background. That's what we help people do. Again, this is the second living room, super dated. What we're going to be doing in this room, for example, is exact same as the other room. So the other room, we're going to be removing the fireplace. Same with this one, very dated. So new carpets, we're going to be plastering the room, etc. And then, yeah, just modernization throughout, basically. Also, one thing to note is windows. So windows are something that can be missed on properties when renovating, and they can be one of the biggest costs when actually renovating because windows are expensive, especially if you've got to do loads of them. So obviously carpets are very self-explanatory. We're going to end up ripping these out and having thick dark carpets on the floors, typically grey because they're quite a nice finish. We've got plastering throughout to be done, so it's going to be newly plastered throughout. Great for the EPC, so you want the EPC to be at least a C rating after renovation. We do it with every single project we do. We get at least a C rating on the EPC to make sure that once it's renovated, when the investor spent the money on the project, you want to be able to set and forget. You want to rent it out, have it renovated, rent it out, and be able to just leave it alone to say, okay, I've spent money on this now. There's, I've future-proofed it to a point. I've got new central heating in. I've got the EPC to a C. Because basically in 5 years' time, by about 2029, we expect the EPC to need to be a C on every rental property in South Wales. So, well, in Wales in general. So we want to make sure that when we're doing the renovations now, that we're actually making sure the EPC is a C now after the renovation, so that you don't have to do alterations later on. You want to make sure that you're making sure it's future-proof now, so that you're basically not having to spend money in 5 years' time, putting insulation up, doing your electrics again, putting new insulation here and there. Like, you want to make sure it's giving you peace of mind for longevity. So here's the kitchen. I love this kitchen because it's very cute, but I also hate it because it's very cute. And when I say cute, I mean small. So it's not impractical. It's not an impractical kitchen where it's so small that it's a big issue, but it is impractical to the sense of kitchens or bathrooms tend to have, apart from bedrooms, adding bedrooms to a property increases value to a property. Fantastic. Kitchens and bathrooms are also great value adders. So if you had a property which has a large kitchen in a good area, you can expect the size of the kitchen and spec of it to really increase the value of a property. Same as a bathroom. So with this one, we're going to make it a buy-to-let spec on the back end anyway. So we're going to be renovating this for the client, make sure it's we're going to be utilising the space properly. But one thing that we've had a sticking point with this property on is the bathroom is a good size, very practical and very good. The kitchen it's a good size and it's practical, and you could fit everything you need into it. But one of the goals of this project is to make sure that once we've renovated it, the property is worth the 140k. That's an absolute goal here. So we're basically brainstorming a way of making sure this actually stacks to make sure that the project still works for the client. I've got no doubt it still will, but it's just a case of brainstorming and coming together to say, okay, how can we maximize this area? We also have an outside area or semi-outside area that we can utilize. The point is, what's your square footage and how can you maximize that for the end value? Because it's still an investment, you're still putting money in to get money out. So how can you maximize the kitchen? Long story short. As you can see, the bathroom is nice, it's basic, it's simple, it's a good size. You're not always going to have enough room in a bathroom to put a bath in, but if a tenant wants to have a family in here with kids, it's always nice to have those little touches where you're going to have, a nice bath in, you've got enough space to walk around and kind of breathe a little bit. So it gives space to utilize. So that's really cool. So not really much to mention apart from having your basics. Obviously making sure the windows all sorted, making sure that you got your wash basin, your toilet and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's very, very simple, very, very basic. But also, it depends how far you want to go with bathrooms. Bathrooms and kitchens, you can really maximize the end value by having a high spec. But a lot of this is a case of making sure that you're aware of your exit. So if you want to have a flip project where you buy and sell it, you want to make kitchens and bathrooms really nice. Have really high spec stuff for someone to come in and want to buy it straight away. Whereas with rentals, you need it to be fresh and modern, but you don't need it to be like a 10 out of 10 finish. You need it to be 8 out of 10, practical, solid, and have longevity there, good quality enough to be have longevity. But you don't need to make a palace out of a buy-to-let. You just need to make sure that it's practical for your exit and it's within budget to make sure it's still, within budget. This is actually a bit of a quirky little room, to be honest with you. So the kitchen is just in there. So we've done a little brainstorming with the client to say, how can we basically maximize this area to help the value of the property? Because obviously we're going to be renovating it, we're going to be tidying this up with the flooring. It's got a plastic roof. So plastic roofs are a bit of an issue with EPC. So we want to make sure that that's not going to affect the EPC rating, because an EPC is literally the energy efficiency of a property. So if you've got a plastic roof, there's not much insulation blocking out the heat escaping from a property. So at least you're kind of protecting that. But a lot of this is kind of tidy up. You have your water supplies down here, you've got your wastage. So you've got your basic supplies to feed your dishwasher, have like a utility room. So have your fridge freezer, have your washing machines and all that kind of stuff out here, tumble dryers, etc. But everything that we're doing here is based upon the exit. So just making sure you've got electrics. Obviously, we're going to do a full renovation and rewire of this room. Like, this is not going to look like it is now on the back end, but the context is still the same, where you've kind of got, you know, keep it simple on the back end, keep it within budget, but make sure it's still really nice for someone to come in here and want to pay the rental income that you're expecting. I love the garden because it's low maintenance. That's pretty much all I've got to say with it, really. It's low maintenance, not much to do with it. There's a bit to cut back here which will tidy up for the client, but in reality, it's not a crazy project to kind of sort out from the garden. AstroTurf is really great for tenants and for us as well, because it doesn't require much, it's already installed, and tenants are going to love it because it's low maintenance. That's cool. Yeah, not much to say on the garden really, apart from just to tidy up and having it. It looks a bit of a mess now, but easily fixable. One thing I would note, guys, is always look at your roofs for properties. You want to make sure the roof is all safe and sound. We always get a level 3 building survey carried out on every property, so you can pretty much make sure the actual roof is in sound condition, because roof issues are expensive, guys, so just note that. So obviously top of the stairs, self-explanatory. Banister, going to get this changed. It's actually quite low, so we'll get this change as well. Basically, the whole concept of this project is to fully modernise it. So have this done. Again, we're going to have the walls plastered, have things tidied up, have this sorted out as well. You'd be surprised how much flooring changes things. If you've got new flooring and just paint the walls, plaster it, paint the walls, it makes such a big difference. It looks so much nicer, so that's really cool, but very self-explanatory in the walkway. Bedroom number 1. So I like this room. I like the size of it. I think it's a very standard double room size, and you've already got the radiators in the corner, which you can't quite see on the camera, but it's in the corner. And I love it because the boiler's up here as well, and it gives more context. So windows, good condition. This is the window pane is shot, so we're gonna get that changed. But all in all, it's just a very standard renovation internally. Again, you'll see the same theme here. So new flooring, plaster the walls, paint throughout. New doors. Doors add a lot of value as well in terms of the aesthetics. That's really cool. Boiler, change the boiler as well. There's radiators throughout the property, but they're pretty much in good condition already. And if you don't need to change a radiator, if it still looks all right, happy days from a buy-to-let perspective. As long as it's working and it looks all right, happy days. The boiler is really important, and the boiler is really important because they get expensive. If your boiler breaks down Christmas Day, it sucks, and you know that they can cost between £2,000 to £7,000 depending on the brand, depending on the spec, depending on how nice you want your boiler to be. I always recommend spend a little bit extra on a boiler, on a combi boiler, to basically give yourself a bit of peace of mind, because you can never guarantee things not breaking, but the lifespan of the nice boilers can be 7+ years, 7 to 10 years, for example. So it depends how much you're willing to pay for it. I always recommend the boiler is one of the things that you definitely don't want to be cheap and cost effective on, because if it breaks down, if you spend £2,000 on a boiler, to be a bit more conservative, but then in a year's time got to pay for a new one and pay 3.5, you may as well have bought the 3.5 one in the first place, right? So boilers are something that's used every day. A tenant's going to want a reliable one, and if there's a breakdown, that's a big problem. So that's something I'd really emphasize for this. So this is obviously going to be boxed in, because we want the project to be really aesthetically pleasing. So the tenant comes here, think, oh, I can make this my home, right? And it's kind of like, and make sure they're happy with the rent that we're charging. So this will be boxed in as part of the project. So fully plastered, fully painted, new flooring, change the paint for the windows and modernise that. And obviously get new electrics as well, because obviously a full rewire is needed. But then the actual boiler, so change the boiler, replace the boiler itself. You've obviously already got your supplies of your gas and your water and your electrics, that's good. Box this off so you'll no tenant will see it. But then you've also got new doors. So basically everything that's involved in a room, whether it's heating, electrics, the walls, the flooring, just making sure it's all solid. So this is bedroom number 2 and 3, and it's really quirky because you've actually got number 3 feeding from number 2. So a bit of a quirky one, and what it means is super easy to fix, is when we're doing a renovation, we're gonna make a partition wall here to then block this off. So then the door for this room will be by here, and then you've got this door still staying by there, but this will be like a little extension of the corridor. Super easy fix. People don't understand how easy it is to chop and change a structure of a building of a property internally around. Like if you've got a property like this, like you think, oh no, there's a walkway, I have to keep it like that. You can literally make a partition wall here that creates the corridor, and you can chop and change things around. All the bedroom is 4 walls, radiator, electrics, and yeah, just your basics in there. So as long as you can, create walls and move things around here and there, you can actually make it what you need it to be. So long as the property's big enough, you can actually make a property quite varied, whether it's bedroom sizes, you can make them bigger, smaller, chop and change things around, move things around here and there. You'd be surprised how much can be altered with properties. It's opened up my eyes in the past 5 years, doing lots of projects. That's really cool. But yeah, here's bedroom number 2. The windows are actually good already, so they're not shot, so they're good to leave. Again, new flooring, so the end result is dark carpets, thick dark carpets on the back end. White walls, we're going to have it white throughout, so white really makes a property feel bigger than what it actually is. So it's really good for a tenant because they can actually feel like it's modern, it's fresh, and the property's quite big. So it's kind of one of those deceiving little things. It sounds kind of manipulative, doesn't it? Thinking out loud, but it's a positive thing. You're actually creating a nice, open, fresh space for a family. So it's a really good thing, right? So yeah, I'll stick all this off, all the basics, new electrics. We're not going to have anything surface mounted with electrics. It's all going to be flush within the walls. So those sort of things really help as well because it creates a nicer finish. Because surface mounted just looks old, not going to lie. And bedroom number 3, I won't bore you with loads of details because I've basically saying the same thing in every single room here. But long story short is because of the rental income, because on the back end of this, again, same finish. So nice fresh finish in here. Windows are actually okay in here as well. And they've got a bit of character with these little cross bits. That's really cool. Obviously, you're going to put a new light in here. You get the point. In terms of figures, so like I said, the actual return on investment on this project is over 21% return on investment in the first year alone. And let me run through the figures on that. So if you're buying with 70 grand, buying for 70 grand, and the refurb is 38k, if you've got legal fees and all those bits and bobs on top, stamp duty, etc., our fees as a service as well, you're talking probably like 110 all in. So, if you purchase for 70, plus your refurb, plus your legal fees, plus everything, as a cash purchase, it's about 1.5 to 110 all in, give or take. Then if the actual market value of the property once renovated is 140, that's your 30k of equity. So equity from day one in terms of after the renovation. So technically after day one to a point, loosely. And then if let's say the gross, so the full rental income per month is going to be 850, for example, which is quite high end. I'd say 800 is solid, 850 is doable. So if you've got 850, I'd say the rental income net every month is 250. So after your mortgage, after your insurance, after any void period potentially, obviously after mortgage, insurance, maintenance cost from yourself and management fees from a letting agent, all these fees included, the net monthly income, which is the most important thing for yourself as an investor, will be £250 a month. So if you imagine the actual equity and cash flow from one property alone, if you can maximise that, that's beautiful. The real benefit of this is the location. So South Wales has got a lot of hype and it's got a lot of jokes about the weather and all that kind of stuff, but in terms of an investment area, it's ideal because you've got so much regeneration going on in South Wales. And if you drive through South Wales anywhere in the valleys, which is where we are right now, you're going to have a lot of roadworks going on. You're going to have a lot of new housing, and there's going to be a lot of things being built. And if you've got you've got stuff that's being built going on, the stuff around it naturally increases in value. Like if you've got 5 houses down the road being built, these houses in this location will typically go up, have a boost in value because the demand is going up. There's going to be more, it's going to be more demand for the area, right? So that's really cool. And you're basically increasing the value of said location. So that's really cool. So long story short is if you've got 30k of equity after renovation and you're in an area, the property is in an area where there's regeneration going on and the property value is going up, if you're investing like this client from Cornwall and you've got 30k of equity and you've got, for example, let's say 15% of appreciation in that property over like 5 years, you're going to get X amount of capital increase over that time period. So without doing anything, suddenly you've got 40k of equity, then you've got 45k of equity, and so on. So this is why it's important to always have a long-term vision with property invest. You make money on a property when you buy, because you buy it at a discount. Then you do your renovation to make it cash flow from a tenant point of view and to increase the value. Pull most of your money back out and then set and forget. Let it out, get your remortgage, let it out to a letting agent, have it cash flow, and then leave it alone for like 5-10 years. Let the appreciation build so that in 10 years' time or 5-10 years' time, you've got so much equity from a portfolio, not one property, but you've built up 10 properties in that meantime. Each one's got 30k of equity increased to like 40k. And if you've got 10 properties, that's 400 grand worth of equity from a portfolio of 10 properties, if you're still with me at this stage. So you can pull all that money back out and reinvest it. That's the beauty of recycling and building and accumulating. This is why I build my own portfolios in the exact same way that we've done this for this client in South Wales. We only operate in South Wales because we know it's such a great investment location. And yeah, that's the black and white of this, to be honest with you. Like, it's pretty much just a case of realizing, understanding your location or having people who understand it and can help you, like us, for example, because we do this day in, day out, and then building your portfolio for a long-term goal. And that's really, really cool. So basically, to summarize this video, we got great numbers here, great returns. What I would say is, if you like content like this where you want to see more projects, because this is before the renovation starting, we're going to do during the renovation and after, so 3 videos per project. So this is Project Tyntyla, so really looking forward to this one. If you like this content, like and subscribe to the video and comment what you like about the video, because I'm really curious to see the feedback in terms of what people do, don't like, if I've communicated it very well. You know, I like to kind of keep these structured, but I can ramble for days, as you can tell. So let me know what you like in the feedback comments and go from there. What I would say is, from our point of view, we've run through the numbers, run through the refurb to a point. We exist to basically provide the full end-to-end service on this. That's the black and white of this, whether it's funding the properties, whether it's refurbing them, having a reliable build team in South Wales to work with. We've got about 25 refurbs on the go right now in December 2024. So 2025, January is going to be manic, but that's fantastic for us. We've got solicitors we work with consistently, and they're actually based in South Wales, funny enough. And I've got brokers that I work with as well. And I've got different brokers with different lending. So whether it's bridging, whether it's mortgages, we can chop and change that around. So that's really cool. And letting agents. So I've got 2 letting agents to work with really, really well. And having a trusted letting agent is really important, so that you know someone's going to look after you, look after your tenants, do the paperwork on time, make sure any issues come up. If you've got breakdowns on Christmas Day, they can deal with that, etc., etc. You get the point. So that's really cool. So yeah, just to finish off the video in terms of running through everything. So be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to book in a call with us to start building your portfolio, or you want to inquire with us to see, you're not too sure how to get involved in these sort of projects, I'm going to leave a link to booking a call with us in the description. So you can book in a call, make sure you're happy with basically what we're proposing or how we can help. Because at the end of the day, the way that we see this is paint your full picture with us, give us all the information and context on what you're trying to do, and we'll see how we can help you incorporate these projects to build your portfolio in South Wales from wherever you are. We've currently got clients in London, Bournemouth, Cornwall, Scotland. I've got a client in Asia who's actually traveling right now. I've got America, Scotland. Basically, we've designed the business so that anyone can invest from anywhere with us, and it really helps us to help other people. That's really cool. So location does not matter with this, just to really emphasize that. Most of our clients are from London, funny enough. There's a lot of money there, and London's very expensive. Same as Cornwall and Bournemouth, very expensive locations, and people can see the benefits, because this property, typically the ones we're buying are worth like 100 to 120 once renovated. This one's even nicer, you know? So you can see the value of investing in South Wales, where the buy-in cost is so much cheaper, and yet the ROI is so much higher, and the cash flow is so much higher. So if you accumulate a portfolio with, I think the maths works out that if you have a starting pot of at least 150 grand, by recycling and leaving 10 grand in per project, you can actually build a portfolio of at least 7 properties. So with 7 properties, you've got 300k of equity after renovations, you've got cash flow of over 2 grand a month. If you double that every 5 years, that's healthy. That's a really great investment project, and that's what we can help with.